I always wish I could have given them the childhood that I felt like they deserved. Your dad and I were separated when you were about 6 months old. A year and a half later, we were divorced. I kept having to take him back to court because he was in contempt. A couple years later, I married a man named Tom Burks, and we had a son named Benjamin Burks. In the beginning, it was okay, but as time went on, Tom became volatile, screamed and hollered at us, cursed at us, everything set him off. When Ben was little, about 4 or 5, at one point, Tom grabbed his arm and twisted it behind his head, and because Ben interrupted Tom's football game. At the time, I wasn't actually disabled. I was for a time able to work. I worked at the cafeteria at schools, part-time. Also, I had the kids on our kids and food stamps. But my type of work was where they would call you in at a moment's notice and say, okay, we need you to come in and fill in for someone.
When I was 8 or 9, maybe a little older, I walked into my mom's room. I walked on the outside without her noticing, and I listened in because she seemed really upset. I was going to go in, but I didn't want to bother her if she was doing something important. And I noticed that I hear that she is on the verge of breaking down because she doesn't think she can buy food to keep us well for the next week. She's scared that if she doesn't get enough work hours this week, she's not going to be able to provide for us.
Well, you can't actually, if you keep saying no to them, they'll quit calling you. So you can't just, well, no, I'm going to take the day off. No, I'm not going to. Then they'll just find somebody else. I already had your dad's child support coming in, but I did have to apply for disability. So obviously you go a good half the year or more without a paycheck. In the meantime, I had to go to my sister Rachel and ask her to pay the rent. It was very embarrassing, but I had to make a decision to be embarrassed that way or have myself and my children out on the street. They were already on food stamps and on our kids when I was able to give my disability and the full child support from both parents. Then I was able to drop the food stamps and pay my own rent and be self-sufficient.
She has a list of heart conditions, and now it takes her minutes sometimes just to get out of the couch. She sleeps throughout the day. Just recently she had a surgery on her heart because if it got worse, she might die. And she still, through all that, she cares and did as best as she could for her 2 children. And Ben, oh, poor Ben. I feel bad for him because he grew up with a mom who was constantly stressed about everything, oh, poor him. He would often just try to be like what little kids do. Sometimes they argue. But my mom was always so stressed and worn out by everything that he was kind of pushed away sometimes. So I feel really bad for Ben, even now. he grew up with an abusive dad who and a mom who couldn't.
I always wish I could have given them the childhood that I felt like they deserved, which was not necessarily luxury or born with a silver spoon, but just a safe space, a place where you don't have to be afraid to come home. You don't have to worry what's going to happen next. You know, whether someone's going to go off on you for spilling a drink or just any little thing. So it's really tough. I feel guilty as a parent that my children had to go through that. It's not easy. Sometimes you wonder where your next meal's going to come from. You wonder, where am I going to sleep? But it's more important, mental wise and physically wise, that you get your children and yourself out of those kind of situations and do what you have to do, because they are what is important.